Welcome to the broadcast. Thanks so much for joining. My name is John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy, and your exam real estate coach as well. My real estate exam coach.com. That's right. Hey, I go by the business tech guy. I go by John Mayfield, but I have a brand new product I've launched called My Real Estate Exam Coach, and I probably need to be using that a little bit more because I think it's an awesome product and I'm excited about that. I want to make sure that we are broadcasting loud and clear, and then we're going to jump right into the material. So I'm actually going to be looking at the do not call list. So I'm just jumping out here to see if we are live, and it looks like we are. So great. All right. So if you have a question, type that in the chat box, and I will come out and take a look at those from time to time. Now I'm going to be very transparent with you. Last week I did not do live streaming for Global Real Estate School. Kind of a real quick story. I just want to bring everybody up to speed. So when all of this coronavirus came down and we were getting kind of locked in our homes, I reached out through the National Association of Realtors. We have a kind of a news digest or a way we communicate similar to Facebook, but it's for realtor members. And I reached out and said, hey, I would be happy to do some free webinars for any associations just to kind of help provide value services for the associations. I wanted to give back. I love technology, and the response was overwhelming. So the last 2 weeks, nonstop, I've been doing 3 and 4 webinars a day. This is my 4th online webinar today. I've done 3 fairly long webinars for associations. I did one for Miami, Cape Cod, and then I just did one for the Women's Council of Realtors. And each one of those had huge numbers, and it was exciting for me to be able to give back. But I say all of that to say, last week, I did not do any live streaming between 4 and 5. Yesterday, I had kind of an emergency situation on an appointment, some other things that came up, and I apologize. But remember, you have plenty of content that you can look at. Be sure and subscribe to this channel, and then go to the playlist, look at the videos. This is where I'm putting a lot of current information I find out from students and things that have been seen on the examination. They go right here on this YouTube channel, so be sure and subscribe. So last week I had those same kind of numbers every day doing webinars, and then I was teaching continuing education from 4 until 6:30 every night. So it was just a little chaotic for me, and we did not do live streaming. But I'm back to begin today, and each day this week I plan from 4 to 5 to continue doing live streaming. So each day come and watch. Subscribe to the channel. If you can't make it, you can always watch these on a playback, okay? I want to thank you for your business. I know we have some new folks that are watching today, and I want to encourage you, if you ever have any questions, you can reach out to me at any time. I'll be glad to help you, okay? So just wanted to give that information out of the way. So I want to go over to the do not call list. So I was telling you about my last 2 weeks and that I did not do live streaming last week. So on Saturday, I thought, I think I'll do a quick little live stream on the do not call registry because they like to ask a couple of questions from this, at least one question from this material. And I just thought it would be good this week specifically to go through do not call, do not fax, CAN Spam Act, and a few of these, and maybe antitrust. So I covered do not call registry on Saturday. We broadcast live. There were 4 people on the call, and I don't know if you're still on the call, those 4 people. Then I went over to what I'm going to show you in a minute, and we took one of these tests, and I did terrible. But I made an error because we covered this, and then I jumped over here and I took the CAN Spam Act quiz. Okay? which I don't know why I took that specific quiz. Maybe they don't have a do not call. Maybe that's why we did that. Oh, here it is, National Do Not Call. So today we're going to do this quiz after we review. So I guess what I want to be honest with you is this. I'm being transparent and honest. I didn't do well on the Can Spam Act quiz. I was really disappointed, so I marked it unlisted. You'll never be able to see that video, but I have been honest with you about my my errors. But after I reread through some of the questions, it made sense to me. It's probably a good learning experience. But anyway, we're going to go through Can Spam tomorrow. We're going to do Not Call today. Okay? I just wanted to be honest. I did bad. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? That's the kind of teacher I am. I probably could have not even said anything and you wouldn't even known about it. Okay, let's get into this real quickly. Few things I want to cover with you on this page, and then we're going to go through the quiz. I'm telling you what, you will see at least one question probably from this information today. And I really believe by going over this today, we go through this material, we go through the quiz, you'll get the 5 or 6 bullet points that question could come from, okay? So one thing I would kind of note right off the bat is that the Federal Trade Commission actually monitors the Do Not Call registry. So I'd write that down in your notes, okay? This falls under the Federal Trade Commission. So let's take a look at the frequently asked questions, because I think we can find a lot of good information there. Now, I do want to make this, it could be a possible test question. If you received an unwanted call after your number was on the National Registry for 31 days, then you can report it. So kind of keep in mind or make a note that would probably, it takes 31 days because it's after your number was on the Do Not Call registry for 31 days. So in other words, the first 30 days after you put your number on the Do Not Call, you could still get some calls. Okay? Does that make sense? So the first, it's going to take 30 days, but on the 31st day you receive any calls, you can report it. So if you put your number on the Do Not Call list for a 30-day period, you still could receive some calls. That could be a possible test question. Okay, let's move over here to frequently asked questions. And I think it's good to go for consumers, and we'll take a look at for businesses as well. So a couple of things, and we're not going to go through all of these. I just want to really make sure that you understand the types of questions. Again, we talked about the 31 days. That could be a call. So in other words, your number could be, it's going to take 30 days just to get in the system. So even if you received a call on the 30th day, you can't report it. But beginning on day 31, you could. Now, I mention a lot of times, it's good for you to understand about the exam questions. I call them level 1. Those are the easy questions. Level 2, a little bit harder, and level 3, those are going to be real challenging. Level 1 is really just recall. It's just which of the following and A, B, C, or D. Level 2, they're going to give you a little bit of data, a little bit of information, and want you to apply what information's there. They are a little more challenging, and I think you're going to see these types of questions from this category fall in level 2 or 3. Okay, they will give you a scenario and challenge you to apply that. So just keep that in mind. That question there that you just have seen, if they ask you the number of days, before you can file a complaint with the Do Not Call Registry? 31. That would be a level 1. It's just a recall. However, they could take that and say, on April 1st, John Smith added his name to the Do Not Call Registry. April 28th, John received a phone call from Robocall, and told them not to call him back. On April 30th, they called him back. Can John file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission or the Do Not Call? See how they're putting into a scenario question. The answer would be no, because they're 31 hasn't gone to 31 days. Remember, you're going to have that 30-day window before your name actually gets into the database. But after 30 days, if they called you, yes, you could report. So if that same question said, April 1st, John put his name in the Do Not Call Registry. On May 14th, John received a phone call, told them he was on the Do Not Call list, and they called back. Then he can report it. Okay, does that make sense? So again, those would be level 2, level 3. They're going to be a little bit more challenging. I think these questions here will be more level 2. They're going to be challenging, but not real challenging, okay? They probably could be a level 1, how many days, but one of the two of those you'll see. And again, I really think you'll see one question from this material. And so it's good for us to kind of know and go through what's there. So how long does it take to stop? That's a question. This could be a question. Will my registration ever expire? And the answer is no, your registration will never expire. The FTC will only remove your number, and this is stuff you might want to jot down or remember. And by the way, you just go to donotcall.gov and you'll end up over here, okay? donotcall.gov. We ended up here at donotcall.gov, and then we just clicked on frequently asked questions. So the FTC will only remove your number from the registry if it's disconnected, see that? Reassigned, or you ask to have it removed. So those are the only 3 ways: disconnected, reassigned, or you ask it to be moved. Here is another type of question. Can mobile phones be on the Do Not Call registry? And the answer is yes. Okay? Will the registry stop all wanted calls? And the answer is no. The Do Not Call registry stops sales calls from real companies. The Do Not Call registry stops sales calls from real company. The registry is a list that tells telemarketers what numbers not to call. See that right there? The FTC does not and cannot block calls. Again, that could be a possible piece of information to help you solve a question. And the registry can't stop calls from scammers who ignore the registry. So lots of information in this paragraph that could be included to help you answer questions. Remember, these are going to be level 2 questions, I think, which means you're going to have some information, and it could be information pulled right from this paragraph, put into the problem. And so by knowing these answers right here, you'll be able to quickly and easily answer those questions. Then I'm going to drop down. Can a company still call me with a sales pitch? Companies can call if you've recently done business with them or if you've given them written permission to call. Right there, see that? But if you ask them not to call, they have to stop. Be sure to write down the date you ask them to stop. Now, here's some other things you need to know. Are any of the types of calls still allowed under FTC rules if I'm on the registry? And these are questions, I've seen these that they've included in the problem. Political calls, they're excluded. I know, you're probably thinking the same thing I am. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? But political calls are excluded. Charitable calls, excluded. Debt collection calls, excluded. Purely informational calls and surveys. I get a lot of those today. We have a survey we're calling you about. So these items right here are excluded and could be thrown into a question. And by knowing this information, you would know how to answer the question they are asking you. Can you kind of see how these, when I say level 2, that I don't think you'll see a question that says all of the following are exempt except. In fact, they're kind of trying to get away from that. All of the following are exempt except. I still use them, and many schools do, in our questions because I think they're good learning. They're good for you to learn the material. If you know that, well, all of these are true except one of them, while you're looking and reading through all 4 answers, you're actually learning that, okay, I know that this is a subject matter and I know these 3 are true, they apply. That one I've never seen. So it kind of reinforces to help you learn the material. I think on the exam, they're going to go into a level 2 question and put some information in that question, and you're going to have to immediately pick up and say, well, I think that was purely an informational call, or that was a political call, so therefore it's exempt. See how that works? So just kind of keep that in mind, all right? Now, I want to come down here. I thought I put my notifications on. And I don't see it there, but anyway, I'm sorry about that. So, dropping on down, what about robocalls? If a robocall, a call that plays a recorded message, is selling something, it's illegal unless you've given a company written permission to call you that way. So keep that in mind. So if you haven't given the company permission and the robocall isn't purely informational, like your cable company confirming a service appointment, there's a good chance it's a scam. At the very least, it's from a company you don't want to do business. Sometimes we might get robocalls from the cable company just confirming an appointment to come out and hook cable up. Those are okay. That would be an informational call. So when you say, well, purely informational, what's that? That's when you get a call that says, hi, we're just calling to confirm your appointment today sometimes I get those from my dentist. You can get them from the cable company. Those would be considered purely informational. It's a reminder that today you have an appointment. Don't forget. So again, those would be excluded and they don't count underneath the do not call. And then it tells a little bit about where to report unwanted calls, donotcall.gov. I don't think they'll ask that on the question. Now, could they ask this question? Sure they could. Companies that illegally call numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry or place an illegal robocall can currently be fined up to $42,530 per call. Wow. Very big. So, that number could be on there. They talk a little bit about spoofing. I don't think you'll see that. And I think we pretty much... Your mobile phone's treated the same way as your personal phone number. And you need to register your number yourself. You get an email back that allows you to click on that link within 72 hours to confirm that. This is interesting here. The registry is for personal phone numbers. Business-to-business calls and faxes are not covered. See that? Good to know that. We talked about the 31-day rule. And just looking at a couple of other things that I think might be good for us to know. Okay, so a couple of things here. Are there other rules telemarketers have to follow? Yes, telemarketers have other rules they must follow under the telemarketing sales rule. Telemarketers can't call before 8 a.m. or after 9. Very well could be included with your exam question. They cannot be deceptive or abusive or lie about any terms of the offer. They cannot ask you to pay with cash-to-cash money transfer, ask you to give a PIN from a cash reloaded card like MoneyPack or Vanilla Reload. And they can't also ask your bank account information to create a type of check that you never see or sign called remotely created pay order. They must connect their call to sales representative within 2 seconds after you answer, transmit their telephone number and, if possible, their name to your caller ID service, tell you right away what seller or charitable organization they represent and that the call is a sales call or charitable solicitation, disclose all material information about the goods or services they're offering and the terms of the sale, and get your permission to charge you and to use your particular account number. Okay? I think knowing this information and putting that in your notes, and by the way, we cover this in the course, you're going to be good to go for the do not call. Now, let's take this quick quiz, and let's hope that I do much better this time on this quiz than I did. I'm doing the do not call quiz. I covered do not calls on Saturday, and then I did a totally different quiz. And I told you that, so let's just hope and pray I do better here. All right, first one. What phone numbers are eligible for registration on the Federal Trade Commission's National Do Not Call Registry website? Consumer home telephone numbers, consumer cell phone numbers, office numbers. Well, remember, business to business are excluded, but you can register a mobile phone and you can register your home phone numbers. So A and B would be correct, right? Number 2, the National Do Not Call Registry only covers intrastate calls, interstate calls, pre-exempts less restrictive state do not call rules, includes exemptions for real estate professionals. Now, let me show you real quickly, and I want to kind of go over this with you. This is one of those questions that looks a little odd at first, but there's probably an easy way to narrow this down to the correct answer. So, only covers out of, that would be crossing state lines. Intrastate would be, I think that's in the state. Interstate, maybe that's in the state. Intrastate is outside. I think both those would have to be false. Now, pre-exempts less restrictive state do not call rules. In other words, is this saying it would, if the state had less restrictive state do not call rules, this would be pre-exempt? And then includes exceptions for real estate professionals. I know that's false. So I know A and B are false, D is false, so we're going to have to go with C. How often is a business required to scrub its no-call list against the National Do Not Call Registry before every call? I kind of like that one. But would you need to do it once every 31 days, 90 days, or 180 days? We actually did not cover for businesses, but if we come over here, it probably tells us how often we should scrub our list. This talks about the business-to-business calls and so forth. Some other things on the business. I was just wondering, how long do we have to wait to scrub our list? Because I don't, the 31, you wouldn't want to wait every 31 days because, and I don't know, that could be correct. So this is a little shortcut. I'm going to do a control find and I'm going to do scrub. There are only one of those. For example, the seller must share. Doesn't say anything there, does it? Well, we're going to have to take an answer. And, I'm I wouldn't think you would have to do it before every call, but probably every 31 days. I could be wrong. I'm going to see if there's anybody in the chat box who wants to give me an answer. Kumar, what do you think? I saw you put answers 1 and B. I'm going to wait just a second and see if anybody else has any specific answers. I'm looking in the chat box here. Anybody want to give us a chance or an answer there? I'm going to say once a month, every 31 days, but I don't see anybody else that's actually giving me any feedback there, so that's okay. So we'll try once every 31 days. Okay, Kumar says B. All right, good. All right, that's what I'm thinking too, so thank you for sharing that. What kind of call is not exempt from the federal no-call rules? Well, political solicitations, they are. Remember, charitables are, surveys are, but follow-up calls made to an open house attendees, those I'm going to say would not be exempt. Number 5, which statement below is correct? Broker A can call any expired listing in the MLS up to 18 months after the listing expires without checking the federal no-call registry. Is that any expired listing? I don't know. Did they have a business relationship? Broker B can call his own expired listings up to 18 months following the expiration. I like that one, but let's read on. Whoops. Broker C can call a FSBO ads to try to get owners to list with him without checking the federal registry. Or Broker D can call his own expired listings up to 24 months following expiration without the federal. It's actually, I think it's the B, but we're going to find out in a little bit. Who cannot bring a lawsuit for violations of the National Do Not Call Registry rules? Federal government, state government, telephone company, consumers. Who cannot bring a lawsuit for violations of the Do Not Call? I'm going to say the telephone company, but we didn't see that, did we? 7, a consumer calls my office with a question about a property. How long can I continue to call the consumer with information about other properties, assuming no transaction occurs between the parties? This one I really don't know the answer to. If he called your office, how long can I continue to call the consumer? I don't know on that one. This is a tough one, okay? I know that if I have an existing relationship, I can call for up to 18 months. But, it may very well be never. You can't call about unrelated properties. But this one I really don't know. It could be 31, it could be 18. We'll leave 18 and see what happens. 8, a former client calls broker X and asks the broker to call the former client's best friend who is looking for a real estate professional. The former client assures broker X that the friend knows broker X is calling and expects the call. Why does broker X still need to check the do not call registry? See how this is a level 2, bordering on a level 3 question, a little bit more challenging. And you really have to read these a couple of times. A former client calls broker X and asks the broker to call the former client's best friend. So it's a former client of broker X, calls the broker, says, call my best friend, who's looking for a real estate professional. The former client assures broker X that the friend knows broker X is calling and expects the call. Why does broker X still need to check the do not call registry? Broker X has not obtained written consent from the friend. Broker X and the friend do not have an established business relationship, and the friend has not made a direct inquiry to broker X. Both A and B. Which one do you think? Michelle, was that for, and there's a little bit of a delay here. So Michelle, are you on number 8? Is that what you're telling me? Because I would be interested to see if Michelle thinks, I see she put A and B up, and I think that's I'm going to wait for her, so I'll look for your response. Carla says A and B. I think so too. I like that one. Good. Number 9, salesperson A lists a telephone number on his for sale signs. When the number is called, a recorded message is played that allows the caller to obtain more information about salesperson A's listings. Salesperson A also has a system that captures the caller's telephone number. Assuming salesperson A has no prior relationship with the caller, what is the permissible time period for salesperson A to call the captured number to call the expected number with the property information? What is a permissible time period for a salesperson A capture number with the property? 3 months, 18 months, can't return call without first checking the do not call, call capture is not permitted. I think it would be C. I think that would be the correct one. And finally, which of the below is not a part of the company's do not call office policy that qualifies a business for safe harbor provision, payment procedure for fines resulting from violations of the do not call registry rules, training requirements for salespeople on proper code calling procedure, list of telephone numbers that shouldn't be called, process to ensure that the company and federal no-call list are not transferred or sold to a third party? Which of the below is not part of a company's do not call office policy that qualifies? I would think it's probably payment procedures for fines resulting from violations. Training would be a part of their policy. List of telephone numbers not to call would be a part, I think. process to ensure that the company and federal no-call list are not transferred or sold to a third party. Actually, it could be this last one. What do you guys think? Sharon thinks D. Anybody want to give me a choice on number 10? I'll wait a minute and see. I see Sharon put D up. I wonder if you were referring to that one there. We've got a good group of folks on the call, which is nice. I appreciate that. We'll always have a lot more who watch later. But okay, we're going to go with D. I don't see anybody else. So now it's time to submit our answers. If I do bad on this one, I'm going to feel really bad. Now, here's the deal. These are questions from, and I'm going to show you something here in just a second. And I'm getting some D's on that. Thank you. Good, Robert and others. You're going to probably see a question from this group of stuff. But the reason I want us to go over these is because these types of areas we're going to go over all week are really sometimes the questions that you can miss because they're just so challenging and we kind of briefly scoot over them. And so I want to make sure that you get these right so that, you know, these are the ones that a lot of students miss. And if you make a 69 or a 68, I'd hate for you maybe to have, if we had prepared a little bit more on these tougher topics, you could have passed your exam. So we're going to talk about the exam here in just a second. So let's submit the quiz and let's just hope we did pretty good. Well, we got 7 out of 10 right. Hey, we passed, okay, 70%. So I wish we'd gotten all 10, but there were a few I just didn't know. So let's go through these. What phone numbers are eligible? A and B. Remember that? Cell phone, any home phone numbers. Business phones are exempt. The do not call, we got that right. Pre-exempts less restrictive state. Good job. How often is a business required to scrub its list? Well, we got that right, and I was really I didn't know, but every 31 days. So, and see, that's a level 2 question. Rather than just saying, here we go, we memorize the 31, but then they use this wording, scrubbing the list. So we got that right. What kind of call is not exempt? Follow-up calls after an open house. We were doing good going down through here, weren't we? We must have missed the last couple. Number 5, which statement below is correct? Broker B can call his own expired listings for up to 18 months. So keep that in mind. I better be quiet. I know someone who saw that question. Real similar to that. Number 6, who cannot bring a lawsuit for violations of the do not call registry rules? The telephone company. Now, here's one here. A business can continue to call for 3 months following an inquiry. And remember I said I didn't know this one. If the consumer did not request to be placed on the company's call list. So that was the one where somebody called about an ad. It's a 3-month period. I said 18 because I was going back to this 18 months up here, right here on number 5, but 3 months. Number 8, a former client, A and B. That's what everybody said, so we got that right. And number 9, well, it's 3 months, same as that other one up before. So again, if somebody calls about one of your listings, you do have the permission to call them for up to 3 months, even if they call your sign and you capture their phone number. So there's a 3-month period there. And the reason being, they've inquired about one of your products or one of your part of your business. And number 10 we got wrong. The correct answer was payment procedures for fines. I had that one, didn't I? Interesting, because that's interesting because I always say don't ever change your answers. And I changed my answer and we got it wrong. So good point to remember there. Okay, so I'm going to go back over just so you can take a quick look at that. The correct answer for 10 is payment procedures for fines resulting from violations. That's not in your company policy. All the others should. Now, I want to just quickly go out here and show you, if you go to Google and you type in do not call quiz NAR, that's where we were, right there. And if you come over here to the side, take another quiz. There are a lot of good quizzes here that would be good for you to take. 1031 exchanges, you could see a few questions. Antitrust, yes, we cover that in the course. Can Spam Act, we're going to do that tomorrow, okay? Fair housing, absolutely. Federal fax laws, yes. Federal lead-based paint disclosure, yes. We're going to cover all these. FHA, yes. Foreclosures, yes. Mortgage fraud wouldn't be a bad idea. Do not call Registry, we just did. RESPA, absolutely. Here's another one on RESPA. And those would be all of the ones I would recommend that you go over. Now, here's the deal. Of everything I just went over, you probably will see one question from all of those topics. So if you know these topics really good, there's 10 or 12 questions you're going to get right. Maybe they may throw a couple in there. But these are questions I think that sometimes a lot of people miss. And I want to spend some time going over these. You can rewatch this video. It'll be in the playlist under our webinars. But tomorrow we're going to do the Can Spam Act, and then the next day we're going to do the Do Not Fax, because they have questions from all three of these sections. Then we'll just keep going in. I think it'd be a good way for us to go over FHA, all of those there, antitrust, RESPA, and just spend some time talking about the topic first and then doing the quiz. Because excuse me, they are questions that are that I don't have in my material, so it's a good way for you to be exposed to new questions. So I don't see any other questions out there on the on our chat board. It's 4:44. This is my fourth webinar. My voice is getting a little bit sore from all the talking today. I shouldn't say sore, it's just a little tired. But tomorrow we'll meet back at 4 o'clock. I have 3 webinars, so I'll be doing 4 again tomorrow. But then Thursday I just have 1, and Friday I have 2. It's starting to slow down a little bit. So just trying to give back to my association. Hey, keep studying hard. Couple of quick things. The testing agencies should open up by May 1st, and we're trying to work to get those open sooner. If you've completed the material and you're just waiting to take your test, I would go to the PSI website and make sure that you get scheduled for your test. Now let me show you something real quickly from Global Real Estate School and your dashboard. And I get lots of calls about this, but they're always, I know the folks that are not watching the webinars. But if you come over here to the course, If you're in Oklahoma, Indiana, whichever course, go to additional references and you'll see the course textbooks there. But if you come down, the handbook is right here. And this has all of the information you need to know for your state. I just happened to pull up Missouri on where to go to schedule your test, information about the test, and so forth. So again, you have to go inside the course. So if I were in Oklahoma, I would open that up, go to additional references, and your candidate handbook is in here. There it is, right up here. Plus you have other information there, so this is where you would get the same information, okay? Just want to make sure you're aware of that. Number two, I want to make sure that if you want my new program, it's totally free for Global Real Estate School students. It's called My Real Estate Exam Coach. And it has some really cool interactive training, and it works great on your mobile phone. And there's lots of coaching videos. There's lots of interactivity, digital flashcards. So if you don't have that and you want that to help you study, please send me an email. I'll make sure it's added to your course dashboard. For all new students, it automatically goes into your dashboard. But if some of you've been in the course for a while, you may not have that. Just send me an email and I'll put that in your course dashboard. So that's a really good tool for you to study. It's broken out just like the exam, and it works great on your mobile phone. So be sure and check that out as well. So don't get discouraged. I think that, we're going to get through this very quickly. Keep studying. And if for some reason you need an extension, let me know. Please watch the videos here. I'm going to be podcasting some more. I've got lots of things I'm going to be sharing with you. And so I'm here to help you pass the real estate test. Did you see, one more thing I need to show you this. I'm really excited about this. And I have a copy of it here on my webpage. You can see this right here. But look at this. Last month, for March, our first time pass rate, we had 9 people take the exam. 8 of them passed on the first attempt. Now, this is just Missouri, but our pass rates were great. You can see the state average was only 50%. And if I showed you some of the other schools, we just rocked it out of the park. So congratulations, Global Real Estate School students. You did an amazing job. And I'm not sharing that to brag. Maybe I am just a little bit. But more importantly, I'm just sharing that with you to say the material you are studying is accurate material. But those students are really putting a lot of hard time in. They're watching the videos. They're using the tools. They're staying in the material. And that's what I want you to do. So thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget, if you're not a Global Real Estate School student and you're watching somewhere else in the U.S., because we have people that come along and watch the videos and I hear from them via email. Some of them actually write me and say, I'm in a school now in another state. Is there any way that I can take your course? And I appreciate that. But you can go over to Global Real Estate School and you can purchase My Real Estate Exam Coach, and I can help coach you to pass the real estate test. So be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel here. If you've not done that, do that because you'll be notified when we do new videos. Check out our podcast. I put a lot of stuff on the podcast. So easiest way to find that, I just bought a custom domain name, is just type in Global Real Estate School Podcast, and it should take you to iTunes to a previous episode. Click on that and you can subscribe right there, or you can find us on Spotify, and Podbean and many of the other podcasting platforms. So thanks, as always, for your business. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Stay safe and think positive, okay? We're going to get through this. Have a great day.